Weather portion of Ag Week now. Arctic air has been replaced by mild weather across the northern plains and upper Midwest. Courtesy this, a split flow in the jet stream pattern. We're no longer being supplied with Arctic air. Instead, it's been forced back to the Arctic. It was really cold up in Alaska, Yukon this weekend. Our weather here in the northern plains and Midwest states has been relatively mild. Cold enough for some troubled weather down south, but that's typical in this type of a pattern. Over the course of the next few days, the split flow will generally continue, but there will be a gradual retrogression of the pattern, which eventually will yield slightly cooler temperatures into the northern plains, but nothing really particularly cold at all. And I do expect the split flow to continue right on through and into the coming weekend and maybe a little bit beyond, but I don't think it'll stay split all the way to the end of the month. That will eventually change. What this pattern will bring in terms of precipitation, an onslaught of heavy precipitation this weekend, of course, will continue into the first part of the week out in the west coast. But because of the split flow, it's the southern branch that gets the storm, and so the low will work its way across the deep south, eventually running out of cold air and just turning into thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast, and the southeast states will likely have several days of storms. Some of this will likely be tornado-type weather. Any precipitation into the upper Midwest and northern plains would likely be light. The drizzle and fog around this weekend may eventually turn to a few spots of light snow, but I wouldn't expect it to be more than the 1 to 3 inch type snow events. And eventually, this southern storm system, by the end of the week, will start moving back up the east coast, where it will tap into some cold air and bring some snow to the northeast and New England. As we look ahead to the second week, the cold air can't stay in Alaska forever, and it will start to move back south, but we're not going to get a complete change of the pattern. Colder weather will likely move back into the Midwest by February, but I don't think, at least starting out, it'll be as cold as it was back in the early part of January. And as far as precipitation goes, the East Coast storm gradually moves out to sea. Looks like a second week of stormy weather in the south. California gets a break from all the heavy moisture, and we may finally get some lighter snows back into the northern plains and upper Midwest. Down south across across Brazil, favorably rainy conditions this time. And getting ahead of myself, Argentina mainly dry, except for way down south, Tierra del Fuego will have extremely heavy precipitation. And over the nation of Australia, there will be some scattered thunderstorms. El Niño is dry in Australia. La Niña tends to be rainy. So the overall prognosis, mild weather this midwinter thaw with only light precipitation will gradually relax, and by the end of the month or early February, I expect it'll turn colder again.